My name is Bao. A few months ago, I got a new job in a small town about 15 kilometers from my village in Vietnam. It wasn't much, night shifts at a factory, but it paid the bills. The commute was quiet, peaceful even. Every night, I rode my old motorbike down a narrow road. It went through a bunch of trees and passed by an old wooden house with a big balcony in front. Two oversized chairs always sat there, empty and still. For the first few days, I didn't pay much attention to the house. It was just another quiet part of the ride home. But everything changed on the 8th night. That night, around 2 a.m., I was riding back as usual. The wind was cool, the road empty. As I approached the old house, I saw someone sitting in one of the chairs, an old woman. Her face was pale, her hair thin and gray, falling over her shoulders. I don't know why, but something about her presence sent a chill down my spine. Before she could turn her face fully toward me, I sped up and rode past her. I told myself I wouldn't use that road again, but the problem was, it was the shortest route. The other roads were much longer and rough. Still, the image of the old woman haunted me. The next night, I finished my shift and decided to take a longer route home. But as soon as I started my bike, it stalled. No matter how many times I tried, it just wouldn't start. I thought maybe I'd push it until I could get back onto the shortcut road and try starting it again. Because as I reached the turn to the old road, I gave it one last try. To my surprise, the engine roared back to life. I hesitated, but something in me said, just ride, get it over with. As I neared the old house again, I kept my eyes fixed on the road, determined not to look, but curiosity got the better of me. I glanced over. She was still there. This time, she was already looking at me, waiting. Our eyes met, and I swear she smiled. Slowly, she lifted one frail hand and motioned for me to come closer. My heart pounded. I twisted the throttle and sped away, the wind slicing through the fear that clung to my skin. For weeks, I couldn't sleep properly. Her eyes, her smile, her gesture haunted my dreams. I didn't know who she was or why she was there, but I knew one thing: she was waiting for me. The very next morning, I quit my job. I never used that road again, and I never saw her again. January 2024. It was the beginning of the year when my sister Minh and I went to our auntie's house in Kanto for the holidays. We hadn't been there in years, and the first 2 days were filled with laughter, games, and catching up with our cousins. The house stood near a patch of dense coconut trees, tall and silent, behind Auntie's backyard. On the third evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, Minh suddenly said she wanted to go for a walk. Auntie warned her, "It's getting dark, go tomorrow." But Minh was always stubborn. She ignored the warning and left anyway, heading toward the trees. I stayed inside, chatting with my cousin. We didn't think much of it until we heard the scream. It was sharp, raw, terrified. We bolted outside and found Minh lying on the ground under one of the coconut trees. Her body trembled and her eyes were wide open, frozen with fear. It was as if she had seen something inhuman. We rushed her back inside. That night I didn't sleep. I sat beside her as she lay in bed, still pale and silent. By morning, we gave her some local herbal medicine. Her body calmed, but her eyes still looked haunted. That evening, when I finally asked her what had happened, her voice trembled as she whispered, "There was a man up in the tree. He was staring at me. His face was twisted. He started throwing coconuts at me, laughing. My stomach turned cold. I remembered the ground. When we found her, there had been no coconuts around, nothing." Later that night, I gathered the courage to speak with Auntie. Her face darkened when I told her what Minh had said. "Auntie, there was a man, Nam. He lived next door. About 3 years ago, he tried to steal coconuts from our trees. He fell, hit his head, died instantly, right there under the same tree Minh was found." A cold silence fell between us. I was grateful nothing worse happened to Minh. Over the next few days, she slowly got better. I still don't know why I said yes to that trip. It was March 2024. I was stressed, burned out from university exams in Ho Chi Minh City. When my friends invited me for a weekend getaway in Bao Loc, I agreed, thinking I just needed fresh air, some sleep, and maybe a few days away from my phone. We rented a homestay tucked deep in the hills of Lam Jong. Quiet, isolated, no neighbors, no traffic, just thick pine forests and rows of tea fields stretching out to the horizon. It felt peaceful, almost too peaceful. The owner, a quiet older woman named Colleen, gave us the key and looked at us for a moment before saying, "Colleen, don't go outside after 3 a.m., especially if you hear singing." Nah. We laughed, of course. You hear a lot of ghost stories in Vietnam, especially in the mountains. I thought she was just trying to scare the city kids. The first night passed like nothing. Cold air, starry skies, and the sound of insects. But the second night, something changed. I remember checking the time, 2:51 a.m., when I woke up suddenly, not from a noise but a feeling, the kind that makes your heart beat harder even when you don't know why. Then I heard it, a woman, humming. It was soft, gentle, coming from outside. I froze. At first I thought it was one of the girls playing a prank, but the sound was coming from the tree line, far down the hill, a lullaby, almost, but sad, like it was meant for someone who never came home. Han, one of my friends, opened the window. I'll never forget what he whispered. "Khan, there's someone out there. She's wearing white." We all looked, and there she was, a woman standing near the tea field, pale white ao dai, long black hair, perfectly still, too still. Not a breeze moved her dress, not a bird made a sound. Then she lifted her head, not slowly, snapped it back, like something broken. The humming stopped. We slammed the window shut. No one said a word. We turned off the lights and sat there in the dark, holding our breath, listening. Then knock, knock, knock on the front door. 3 soft taps, not pounding, not urgent, just polite, like she knew we were inside. Then, tap, tap, tap on the window. We didn't move, didn't even breathe. She left before sunrise. The next morning, we told Colin. She didn't look surprised, only sad. She said the spirit belonged to a local woman whose husband died in a road accident in the city. She lost her mind from grief, wandered into the forest, and never came back. No one ever found her body. But sometimes just before dawn, she returns, singing, searching. She lures people, mostly men, and if they follow her, they don't come back the same. We left that day. No one wanted to stay another night, but something followed us. I know it, because sometimes, late at night, I hear that same humming in my dreams. And Khan? He's never talked about what we saw, but I've heard him hum the same tune in his sleep, same melody, same sadness. If you ever find yourself in the hills of Lam Jong and you hear a woman singing at 3 a.m., don't look out the window, don't open the door, and whatever you do, don't follow her voice.